how did we get to Vesalius's anatomy, and then moving forward onto through Pernkampf, and then eventually Netter?
Sure. So prior to Vesalius, students who were interested in understanding the human body typically relied upon the authority of the authorities of classical antiquity. So Galen or Hippocrates or Dioscorides, others who would describe health practices or the body in ways that did not rely upon dissection, or if it did rely upon dissection, it might rely on dissection of animals other than human beings, so dogs, for example. So there were ideas about human anatomy that were not consonant with what the body is actually like.
Right.
But that wasn't necessarily significant for some healthcare practitioners prior to the early modern period, in the sense that because many of them were relying upon the idea of the humors and the idea that sickness was the result of an imbalance of these four fluid-like substances, it wasn't necessarily useful or important to understand what the structure of the human body was like. It was more important to understand how these fluids operated within the body and how to alter those.
Okay, so it was kind of really a fundamental misunderstanding of how the human body worked, and that created this culture of we don't need to be dissecting human bodies to understand it and to actually influence our medical practice.
Yes.
Okay.
It certainly was relying on a different understanding of the human body than we might have
Today.
presently.
Right.
And based on that other understanding of the human body and how it operates, there isn't a usefulness or a value in better ascertaining what the structure of the body. It's not helpful. It doesn't assist the healthcare practitioner in trying to redress illness or injury.
Okay. Interesting. So really, the cultural belief system at the time really does play a large role in how far we're willing to go in terms of medical science.
Absolutely. With Vesalius, we have a shift in the sense that he is interested both in dissecting bodies as well as providing anatomical illustrations, representations of that on a wide scale through a printed book.
Okay.
So there's a shift that happens there where suddenly there is the question as to whether perhaps there might be a value in attending to the structure of the body and learning what the structure of the body is like, as well as representing it in a way that is intended to be accurate in some respect, even though he himself or the artists with whom he worked introduced certain what modern students would regard as inaccuracies in terms of the structure of the body.